Hello, Nina.
Hey, Steph.
So welcome back to Real Estate Marketing Insights. We are so excited y'all are joining us today. And what a fun topic.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Yeah, we are going to be talking about networking and more importantly, in-person networking. It is, we say this all the time. We have built our business on social media marketing, and it is so important, uber important in 2023. But I think especially with post-COVID tiredness, people kind of forgot how to in-person network in so many instances.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that in-person interaction, people have gotten, they're a little out of practice, I know I definitely got very out of practice during COVID and the mask years of just not having that same, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So, we have really committed in our business. And the cool thing about networking, in-person networking, is it builds trust exponentially faster. And that is what someone is looking for when they are going to purchase a home with you. They are taking the largest investment or the largest financial decision that they will ever make, and they're trusting it to you.
And no one wants to feel like they're getting the wool pulled over their eyes. Everyone wants to feel like they're getting the best deal, the best experience. So if they don't want to be with someone that they think is just trying to make money off of them, if they feel like they can trust you and have that relationship with you, then they're going to be way more likely to make a huge purchase like that with you.
Absolutely. So in-person networking builds that trust so fast. And there's just so many ways you can do it. That's the cool thing. There's really no right or wrong way in the sense of what you choose to do. Now, I do have some opinions on once you are in those rooms, what that should look like. But
every networking experience doesn't have to be this tailored hello, and you don't have to have a business card even. You could just be anywhere. It's the intent behind what you're doing to be able to network. So you just run into someone at the gym. You don't have to be in a blazer at the gym. You can still network there in your gym clothes.
Right. And all networking is building that connection with someone. Networking is not a sales pitch. So while I think you should be mission minded when you attend networking events, it is not this, hey, let me give you my sales pitch, because that is going to run people off very fast. So let's dive in. I think let's just get right to it on what we feel are some do's and don'ts at networking events or in-person networking events. And these will pertain to a little bit of a larger setting. So think chamber, Rotary, those type of events where there's typically is a large crowd. So anytime we attend a networking event, we go with a mission in mind. That does not mean we go in like a rabid beast trying to climb the walls and give our card to every single person we see. But there is a mission. And the reason that is because especially there's two of us. It is very easy to just get a drink, sit in the corner, and chit-chat about everyone's awesome clothes.
And just people watch.
And people watch,
right,
yes.
Yeah.
So we do not allow ourselves to do that. There are times we go to networking events and there's a specific person. We just want to get to know them a little more. We work the room until we obtain that. There are times we go to networking events where it is just hey, let's get our business cards into the hands of many people. We're just trying to appear to the masses.
Yeah. And and sometimes too, I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And so we always try to have a mission when we attend a networking event. If you do not have a mission, it's called social hour. And we love social hour.
Right. There's a place for it, And it's good to be sociable and personable when you're there.
Right.
But it's that back of mind thinking of I got to try and promote my business. I got to make sure that I'm trying to steer the conversation towards things to where I can talk about my business and what I'm doing in my projects or talk about their businesses.
Yeah, your goal is to get there and then figure out a way to connect with these people on a level that you will stay front of mind, that you can build that connection. So whenever you leave there, there's a chance that you can continue that relationship, build more trust, and they will use you in their business for real estate. So we are big on you have to go in with a mission. We know that we need to work the room. We do not sit down. It is uncomfortable.
Right, and not to say that we don't occasionally go and powwow in the corner and have a little chit-chat and, center ourselves, but for the most part, we're out there, back-to-back, shaking hands and trying to talk to people or all,
Yeah. There will be times where we have to regroup. I mean, we've had some networking events where maybe people are a little brash or
just really intense. You know, some people are really passionate about what they're doing, and they maybe had a couple extra coffees that morning, and it can be a lot. And especially, like, I'm a lot newer to the networking. Stephanie worked in real estate when I was still in high school, so I am
Thanks for dating me. Aging me, like, not literally a date.
Stop. But, like, I feel like sometimes it can just be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And too, like, we want to make sure that we're doing a good job of making connections and keeping track of who we're meeting. So if you meet 10 people all back to back to back to back, maybe it's good to go take a second, regroup, make sure you've organized their business cards so you don't lose
So that's
track
something
of
we
it.
do, is we organize our business cards in the order we spoke to the people. So that's something we didn't think about when we were planning this.
Yeah.
Nina or I will be the one who holds the business cards, and then we put them, because we feel, I don't know if there's science behind this, but we feel in our mind that we will remember the people a lot better if their business cards are placed in the order that we spoke to them in.
Right, like chronologically.
Yes.
And like I always try and make sure that I have like a pocket or something in whatever I'm wearing, so that way I can either like keep them in the same like order where I put them, or I have some like, I don't ever want to like get jumbled and start losing my things, and just make sure I always have somewhere to like put my phone or put whatever, and I'll make notes if I need to, or if someone said something like the last event we went to, they were talking about this Girls of Virtue event that we knew we wanted to go to, so I always make sure I bring a pen so I can jot down like when they have the next events and like dates and stuff, because it's a lot of information that you're getting in 1 2 hour and a half event. So don't feel like you have to remember. You don't have to be Einstein. You can take notes and create systems so that way you can remember what you're doing, because it's more important to make genuine connections that you can then follow up on than it would be to meet 100 people. I'd rather make 10 good connections that I can remember their name, maybe their dog's name, I don't know if we talked about that, than get my business card into 100 different hands that day. I'd rather make a genuine good.
We have a little bit, or last time we had a kind of a VIP system. If it was like someone we were like, oh, we are connecting with them, we related with them, we really enjoyed their conversation, it might not have just been to advance our business. There could have been other reasons, but we had like a stack of cards where like, these are like VIP follow-ups, so that we need to handle them a little differently. So that jumps into our next portion of networking advice. There has to be a follow-up, a one-time, one-off exchange of cards, a 3-minute conversation where you talk about your business, like Nina said, maybe your dog, and you mentioned that you're trying a new restaurant in town is not enough. So we are major fans of following up in anywhere from 6 to 24 hours after the event. Mm-hmm. If you make our VIP list of cards, you're getting a text message. Hey, it was wonderful meeting with you today. I would love to connect in the future, grab a cup of coffee, hear more about your organization, your business, your nonprofit, the 5K you're running, whatever it is, the thing that drew you to them.
Yeah.
Then there's the other list. They get an email. Mm-hmm. And it was, hey, this is my contact information, so you'll have it in your email. It was wonderful meeting with you. And we are big on follow-up. It will leave a lasting impression. It also gives you a chance to set yourself apart in case they lose that business card somewhere in their car.
Yeah, especially because, like, I mean, if they're maybe not on your VIP list and they get the text message, if you message them to their Instagram from your Instagram, then you can follow each other. Then they already found you. You've already helped them make that extra connection for you, and you've reached out.
Right. There's nothing worse when I'll watch individuals, especially new real estate agents. They're so gung-ho. They're so excited, and they're going to do everything. And they go to networking events. They sit in the corner with one other realtor friend. Mm-hmm. They get a few business cards, and they leave, and they do nothing with them. I'm like, oh, you just kind of wasted an hour of your day or 2 hours. And honestly, networking events can be a little tiring. So I just think if you truly, truly want to network, there has to be a little bit of work behind it. I know people are like, let it be natural. Yes, let the conversation be natural. Yeah. But the actual art of networking does require some planning.
And it's not like you went to a networking event. Everyone went to a networking event. So following up, quickly after, it's not desperate. You're not like some weirdo that like is like, please work with me. I feel like that's a normal. It just shows that you're interested, that you're professional, and that, you got this, you are able to be a space to work with them.
Absolutely. Our next piece of advice is controversial, and I know people are going to disagree, but please avoid alcohol. it doesn't typically go well, especially if you're new to the organization.
Right.
And I know the number one thing we hear back is, well, it helps me relax. It helps me be a better networker. Well, no, what you really should do is just go to more networking events. That will help you become a better networker.
Right. Yeah.
And I think we've all been guilty of that, like a glass of wine to relax. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's when I'm at an event and I see someone drinking 2, 3, 4, 5 cocktails. It's no longer a networking event. There's for you. And I just don't think that there's a place for that.
Right. Especially too, because we could all rehash health class and talk about all the effects that alcohol has on your brain, but would rather, if I'm nervous before the event, I'd rather think about the reward of an Aperol Spritz after, or a glass of wine after the event, and know that I have a clear head now, and think about how I can de-stress afterwards. But I don't want to de-stress before and then have my brain be a little bit fuzzy. So I might calm my nerves, but then I'm also going to calm my ideas and my brain power. I'd rather hold off a little bit, maybe have a little coffee or have a little Coca-Cola for some caffeine and some sugar, and then have the alcohol to relax afterwards.
And Nina said something, I don't remember if it was in a class or on an Instagram post. I really don't even remember where I seen her say this or write this, but I thought it was so great. When you go in with a mission, it actually takes off the stress, behind the scenes. So if you're not worried about your anxiety of trying to mingle or network because you have a mission. Okay.
Yeah, you have a distraction. You have something else to put your mind thoughts towards. So I know if I just go into a networking event, I'm going to start thinking well, do I sound silly? Is my hair messed up? Is my business sound good? But if I have a mission, then I'm more focused on well, did I do this on my task? Did I do I have something else to think about and distract myself. And if I do feel myself kind of spiraling and thinking about other things that aren't really relevant or important, then I can redirect my attention back to what I'm there for, what I'm there to do, and get it done. And maybe this isn't always the healthiest mentality, but I'm if it's not going to kill me, I can do it. So I might be really nervous to go over and try and talk to these big wigs that I know are really successful in my industry, but it's not going to kill me to do it. So I might as well.
They can't eat you. Right. They're not a whale.
Right.
Did you see that man got ate by a whale, but the whale spit him out?
Yeah, I did see about that.
Yeah, so they can't do that. So that's really, really good. But yes, that's why everything in your business should really have a system. And so we have a system for networking. We have a system of how we hold our business cards, how we follow up.
I have a system for everything. I have a system for how I get ready for bed at night. I feel like systems help you take off that mental load to where you can it's just routine. It's just one step after another.
And that's how we run networking. It's just like your nighttime routine or your morning routine is we have a checklist we look at before we go. We talk about here's what we're hoping to accomplish here. Sometimes it is just getting in front of eyeballs. Sometimes there is a person. Nina and I just had this conversation earlier, and we kind of alluded to it on our last podcast. There's 2 people in our community that we really need to get in front of. They would help move the needle within our business and our organization. If we could get in front of those 2 women, I know we could wow them. I know we could get what we want. So do not think we are not mission-minded. We're not going in like a rabid beast. If we find them at an event, we're not going to just beeline to them. We're going to subtly work the room. And another thing is, so let's say you walk into a room and you are working the room, and that person that you were hoping to connect with walks in. The way you need to excuse the person you were speaking to is just say, "Hey,
see ya."
No, don't do not. That was terrible advice.
I'm kidding.
Is to say, "Hey, it was wonderful speaking with you. Can I get your contact information so we can connect later?" So you are ending that on a high note, making that connection, and then you can try to move forward into the room of where you're trying to be and get in front of who you want to be in front of.
Right. And especially if you add that piece of I'm excited to talk to you later, they don't feel like they just got snubbed. They're like, oh,
yeah. Or as I have young stepdaughters, they don't feel like they got yeeted. Is that still a word?
I think so.
I think so. I try to get up to date once a month. So yeah, you don't want anyone to feel like they've been yeeted, and you can just nicely excuse yourself with their contact information because you need it anyway for your database.
Yeah.
So next thing we're always asked is, where do I find these networking events? How do you find them? Well, the obvious answer is your chamber. I know that not everyone has the budget to join a chamber, and I'm going to give you this advice if you do join the chamber. I've been a part of so many chambers. I should write a book on chamber membership. It does not work unless you go consistently at the chamber. If you look at any successful chamber members, they are at, I would imagine to say, 75% of the events, at least 85 to 90% of the time. They are consistent. They are front of face. They are working that chamber like that is their organization, and they are going to be the head of it. Like how some people want to be the head on Instagram, they want to be the head of the chamber. Yeah. So if you're going to invest in your local chamber, which there are some amazing chambers in our area, you've got to put in your part. Paying that $300 or $400 or $500, whatever it is with inflation right now, will not get you customers.
Right, and just like making that investment won't be enough. Like you'd have to do, it's not just the financial, you really do have to show up and be there and go to the events. And it's not like they have like a million events, but there is a decent number of them. It's definitely going to be something that you have to commit to doing. But I mean, for most people, if you are able to like do this successful networking, you'll meet a lot of good people, and it probably will be successful for your business depending on your industry. But I mean, I would say we'd recommend joining your chamber.
I would. Yeah, there's certain ones that I've been a part of that have not offered me much success, and I did try to work them properly. And then so just go to your chamber, and we have actually a blog post up that says the questions you should ask on whether you should join your chamber. So just go over to socialsoutherncreative.com, go to our blog post. There's a whole article about joining chamber. Should you, what questions you should ask, etc. And so that is obviously a great way. The really cool thing about the chamber, especially if you're in the real estate business and you go to all these events, you're going to meet other people that would help your customers. So you're going to meet the people that resurface driveways. You're going to meet painters. You're going to meet mortgage loan officers.
Right.
So you're going to not only be able to showcase you're going to be able to create a database for your customers. So you're going to be a resource for your customers because you'll have all these connections. So it's twofold.
Right. I feel like a lot of times when you're working as someone's real estate agent, sometimes you might feel like you're almost their personal assistant, the way that they just like, they'll ask you a million different questions. And how great would it be to just have the answers for them?
Yeah, to have the people.
Yeah, it's not technically your job to be able to recommend someone to fix the paint at their house that they want to buy. But if you can, how great is that,
Right. So it's wonderful. The next place is actually your local news stations. They typically have like a virtual bulletin board. So locally, like a News for Jax or First Coast, if you go to their websites and our newspaper here in Jacksonville, they all three have virtual bulletin boards. Excellent spot. The next way is to ask on your social media. So I love asking, hey, what's going on in the community? Is there not any nonprofits that have anything coming up? And then this way it's threefold. One, you drive engagement. Two, you become a resource for your community. And three, it shows you support other organizations in your community.
Yeah.
So just put that question out there.
Yeah. Either on like a Facebook group or on your own page. Just put it out and see what responses you get.
Yes. That's another great one is Facebook groups. You can type in the word of any city. If you type in the word Jacksonville, literally there's like 40 groups. Jacksonville Moms groups, Jacksonville Business
40,
groups.
More than that, easily. Thousands of Jacksonville groups for anything.
Some of them are sketchy.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't.
I mean, the first 40 look legit. It gets a little scary after the first 40. I don't know if that would be what I would do, but to each his own. I don't know what kind of groups Nina's looking in, but so yes, I would highly recommend Facebook groups. I'm part of like 3 Jacksonville business groups. There is always something going on in those groups. So make a commitment. That is what Nina and I do every month. We plan out, what are we going to be doing for networking? It is just as important. It's more important than putting a post up on social media. It's more important than, honestly, I'm just being honest, creating this podcast. Like, it is.
Yeah.
It is the thing that will move the needle in your business fast, efficiently, and long term. Right. And it keeps you front of mind.
Right, absolutely. I mean, there's so many, like, people get a million emails a day, but you can't meet a million people in a day. So getting that in person, face to face.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is our tips. Go in with a mission. Don't drink alcohol. Follow up. Make a commitment in your business and in your life to find these events. Stick with them. Do not back out. Be careful, though, inviting your friends. I know that's a real common one I hear on other podcasts, like, get a girlfriend and go. That is fine if you guys have a live chat in the car. Like, we're not going to be each other's lifeline. We're going to go in.
Right. If you can do that nonverbal communication, where you, like, look at each other and you can giggle, cool. Maybe do that as long as you're able to actually talk to people. And, like, don't let bringing your friend be a crutch to where you're only just sitting in the corner with them. Make sure that you're still confident enough to go out and shake some new hands and meet new people and make new connections.
Yes, without the crutch of someone else. So, yes, friends are great. Highly recommend them. The more you do it, I was part of the clay chamber for many, many years. And at first I always felt like, oh, I have to go with my friend. By the end of it, I was like, oh, she can't go. I'll go. It's no big deal. Because I'd met so many great connections that I had other people I wanted to hang out with anyway.
And I mean, there are going to be a lot of people that you see like that go in duos to these events, but a lot of times it is just people there by themselves.
Yeah.
Just there's a lot of solo birds. It's flying.
Absolutely. All right. I think that's it, Nina.
Yeah.
You got any big plans for the weekend?
I think I may try out at that new Oaxaca restaurant over in Jack's Beach, but I don't know if I'll be able to get a reservation. I might have to just see if I can walk over and maybe grab a drink at the bar, because it's right over by where I live, so I can ride my bike over, because I think it's supposed to be some beautiful weather this weekend. So.
I know. I've seen that. So hot, which is awesome. Last week I was wearing like a leather dress. This week I'm in like florals and pink because it's so warm. We tried to get into a coup.
Oh,
have you heard of it?
Yeah, that's over. I think that's over by my house as well.
Gosh.
They have like sushi and
like it looks very trendy, but sushi.
And they have the rooftop, right? So you get right by the ocean too.
Okay, well you basically have to be the president, I guess, to get in there or whatever, because it is booked.
Really?
We tried. So I actually think we haven't eaten there in years. I think we're gonna make the trip to Gainesville, which is like an hour and 20 minutes for us, and go eat at Dragonfly tonight.
Oh, dang. Dragonfly, that'll be nice.
Yeah, that was one of like my husband and I's first dates. So I'm like, let's go over there. So
yeah, okay.
well, good. Well, all right. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.